will require a lot more oxygen. Next, and those are the big three things that matter. Although they sound very minor, these are important. They've got to be fitted properly. They've got to be comfortable, i.e. walk around the store 5 to 10 minutes before you buy it, and really don't let a shoe salesman say to you, oh, you'll break it in, because many times you'll end up with a blister that can infect, and if you have diabetes or circulatory problems, or even people that don't have those problems, who wants to be exposing themselves to those problems. The shoe should be pretty comfortable from day one. So this is our shoe explanation sheet. I'll leave that out. And any kind of support that you're looking to get from a shoe would either be from one that comes with the shoe or a custom support that are called orthotics that we actually make in laboratories off of a mold of your foot with different measurements that are put into it as far as proper height, arch, tilt, stability points, etc. A lift if you have one leg shorter than the other, and whatever we take about 30 different measurements that can go into orthotics. Other giveaways, I'm going to leave my little brochure here, and in it you'll read about my history a little bit, but more importantly than that, it has a list of approximately 15 different common things that we take care of. There are many more than that. These are the most common things with a real quick explanation. A few nail files. It's always good, before you go to bed, just run your hand over your toenails. If you feel any sharp spots, take a nail file and smooth them down, because when you slide into your bed, when your bed sheets can grab one of those nail spurs, can pull a toenail off. Very problematic, infections, etc. And also when you slide your socks on, the same thing. You always want to make sure that you don't feel any barbs that are on there. They're so easy to ease it. You just take your little nail file and smooth it off. Next, I have about 5 different brochures with common foot problems. We have about 10 or 20 others in the office, but these are some of the most common. Plantar fasciitis, which is a strained arch. Neuromas, which is nerve damage in the front of your foot. Fungus problems, which can hit your skin or nails, otherwise known as athlete's foot. Arthritis, bunions, and if anyone wants a copy, just call me up. We'll mail it out to whoever wants it. Give me their name, address, and whatever brochure they want. And it just so happens that Medicare and some other insurance programs have a program for patients who have diabetes. Patients who have diabetes tend to have circulation deficits. They're not as sensitive on their feet, so they can't feel any high points or sharp points. They have shoes that are approved for coverage through Medicare and other insurances they meet my criteria. They're straight, stable, etc. They have minimal seams on the inside. There's adequate depth and room in case someone has toes that are crooked or enlarged, and makes people less susceptible to scraping their foot, damaging their foot. And they provide good support, and they have extra widths and extra depths for people who have problems with swelling. And if you're on Medicare and you have diabetes and you're medicated for your diabetes, there's coverage, and other insurances get coverage too. You'll have to check with your insurance company. I'll leave this brochure behind. This has pictures of all the men's and women's shoes. There's hiking boots, there's walking shoes, there's sports shoes. There's actually indoor slippers now that this company makes that are actually fantastic shoes. So, now to the common foot problems, benefits. That's a good joke. The benefits of what we do is that we're not just treating foot conditions. We are keeping people walking, and that's so important. When I first started my practice, that was 1981, I would see patients who I was working a lot in facilities where people were ill, and the patients who were coming in who were mobile, they would tend to do much better, much longer, because when you're able to walk and exercise, your heart, your lungs, everything, your circulation, everything keeps going. I would find patients who would come in and, God forbid, they break an ankle or foot or their hip, Once they became immobilized in bed, it was so important that they rehabilitate quickly to keep their lungs working, their joints working, et cetera, because as they would give in to the disability, all the other things would start to deteriorate, and they just wouldn't thrive like they could when they keep moving. That's why it's so important. I'll have patients that come in with what my colleagues consider the most mundane things: a painful ingrown toenail, a really painful corn on the bottom of the foot. And even patients will come and they'll say, oh, I just have this thing on the bottom of my foot. I'm so sorry to waste your time, but I just can't walk. And I say, waste my time? What do you think I'm doing here? That's why I'm here. And they always give a sigh of relief because they think they're really burdening me with these simple problems. I had a patient last Friday. She's been my patient for 20 years. I'm so sorry to waste your time, because I see patients coming to my office with big boots and casts and crutches. They're just as important as the big athlete who's sprained his ankle, who's out of this basketball league. They're all just as important. On this particular one patient, she said, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's walking like this. And I said, don't worry. Took care of her foot, literally 5 minutes. Make sure there's nothing broken and there's nothing in her shoe that's causing a problem, no infections. Cut away the thing that was bothering her, put a pad on. She walked out, the biggest smile on her face, because now she's able to go out and do, I think she does Pilates and she does walking with her neighbor, but she couldn't do that. Just think about how important exercise is to your life. If I'm a marathon runner, if I can't run, I don't feel too well. Excuse me. Something fishy around here. Okay, good timing. Really. So that's very important. I'm just going to start on the tip of the toes and go right up the leg and go real quickly and give me your specific questions. If you start at the tip of the toes, we've got toenails, we've got the tip of the toes. The problems that you can get up there are thick nails, which are fungal nails, ingrown toenails. Some people get bone spurs under their toenail or on their sides, and some people get really bad warts and calluses on their skin. There are surgical and non-surgical treatments for all of those. Our goal in treating a patient, I'm going to be very repetitive, is just to keep the people walking. We give the people the conservative, the surgical options. Whenever a patient says, well, what would you do, doctor? I always say I would try the non-surgical / conservative treatments first. If they don't work, then we'll worry about surgical care. Because so many things, I tend to, editorializing, think many of my colleagues tend to overdo surgery too fast. And I think that if you try the conservative treatments, they oftentimes work really, not only do they work, but they work immediately or much faster. There's nothing to wait for healing. And if it doesn't work, you can always do the surgical. From a psychological standpoint, if a patient has tried the non-surgical treatments and they don't work, when it comes time for surgery, there's no angst later of, oh my gosh, I'm going to surgery, I'm so nervous. Is there anything else I can do? Or afterwards, if God forbid there's a problem after surgery, they can say, oh, at least I tried everything and this was the only thing that was left. If someone had, for instance, let's say someone's had a foot surgery and they had problems afterwards and they come to me and I say, you could have tried X, Y, or Z, and say, why didn't they offer that to me? I certainly would have tried that before surgery. So I really have a busy practice, and as time goes on, the number of surgeries I do